that we were doing. But what I wasn't doing effectively is I wasn't really focusing the right targets. So I've been trying to focus more on finding the enemies that are the most active, trying to stop them. And whenever I was diving in the back, I was trying to make sure that my teammates could engage as well, so that they could see and shoot the enemy rather than me. Sometimes I would engage the back line just by myself.
Makes sense. Shooting the best targets. Okay. And
Yeah.
what about, yeah, so we talked about active angles. So any difficulties with applying all that stuff? Maybe anything
Um,
what's been tough for you to apply in your games?
I think the toughest part is really trying to apply it all the time. So it was always on my mind, or as best as I could have it in my mind. But there are times that I kind of fall back into my old habits and me just exiling a random target with Hulk rather than thinking this person is the most active and they need to be shut down.
Yeah, yeah. Then we just need to fix the process of how you practice this. This is pretty common, I think. What you described there, you just get into autopilot mode, and then you fall into the old habits, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So describe me the process of how you practice those ideas. So there's been quite a lot of concepts we went over. So describe me when
Hmm.
you go in a game. What do you do exactly with all those notes and such?
Well, actually, prior to the game, I will kind of look over the notes that I made of our last coaching call. And then I'll just try and review that in my head a few times. And then as I enter the game, I'll try and ask myself a few questions. Like when I'm still kind of waiting in the spawn room, I might ask, like, okay, who's likely to be the most active? Who's likely to be the biggest problem? And it's never really going to be support, almost besides their ultimates. So that already kind of helps me focus a bit more, I feel, because then I'm looking for the Hela maybe taking top control or the Black Panther diving our backline. Um, so that's, I guess, my process as of now.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So far it looks like that. Let me just screen share this. I think it's gonna be important to go over. So far we got this. So on one side, let's say there's problem, and then on another we can have a solution. Okay, so far process this. You read the notes, okay, and then you just pretty much try to apply a lot of stuff. There might be multiple things. For example, maybe talking about somebody active. Yeah, you're trying to apply concept. Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
What's based on active, based on position, based on the cooldowns, based on the damage. Anybody who can do active burst. Okay, so that
Mm-hmm.
might be kind of X, Y, Z idea. You're just trying to apply. Yeah, just look, try and practice. Yeah, practice those ideas. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you do this, what do you think might be the problem with this? Well, maybe anything what seems just not the best with this approach to you sometimes.
Well, if we're going to describe it as kind of XYZ idea, it can maybe feel a bit overwhelming rather than it can be a bit too much. So I think simplification would make it even easier.
How you would simplify it? Just maybe to give us an example, just using the same idea, active angles, you need to go after those. So how you would simplify this?
Um, yeah, who's the biggest problem? So
What's
have
the
like a
biggest
one
problem?
simple phrase.
Yeah, but this is what you've been asking yourself here. To just put a note, who is the big problem? But it can be based on the multiple things, right?
Exactly. So previously I would kind of go over all the kind of ideas of, okay, what do their cooldowns look like? What is their positioning like? What is their
Yes,
commitment level like, and so on. So would be
yes,
quite detailed.
yes, yes. See, there's just a lot you're trying to track, right? In a
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
Yeah. So the big thing about this is your working memory is really overwhelmed. Working memory, you're gonna struggle with just implementing all these ideas at once, and it's okay. It's the same thing as you would try to drive, and if you just on your first lesson try to drive the car instantly right away. It's not
Mm-hmm.
possible. you need you need to keep an eye on the other stuff. You need to keep an eye on the signs on the road. You need to keep an eye on just what's the how to turn the wheel, look around and stuff. There's just a lot of stuff. And your working memory is going to be really busy. First of all, you need
Mm.
to get in a certain habits. That's why if we're learning something, we just need to keep it simple. for us.
Yeah.
If that you saw too many ideas, it's gonna be tough. So you just need to narrow it down. How you'd narrow it down for yourself?
If I were trying to simplify it for myself, then I would just ask like who seems to be like who's the most scary, kind of like I was trying to kind of make it
But
a bit of a
again,
vague
who's the
question.
most scary? But wouldn't you fall into the same trap of like who's the more scary based on XYZ again?
Yes, but then I'm not asking myself like because I feel like now I'm kind of scanning my environment for like okay high ground, okay that's a bit of an issue, but this person is like positioning more closer to my team, so I might be trying to. I think I'm trying to fine tune it too much right now.
Yeah, because this what you described there, I think this makes total sense. If you can manage multiple variables at a time, that's fine. That's usually possible to do once you spend a lot of time into tracking. For example, you read automatic, it's just identifying who has bad position. Fine. You can maybe
Mhm.
add another variable, but what you're describing there, what the big chance you will fall into autopilot because you're trying to track too many things, like what is their position, are they using cooldowns, are they doing any active damage, and then it becomes really tough. Your working memory is gonna struggle. So
Precisely.
I would rather just specify and say who is not the big problem, but rather say who has this active position or who is using cooldowns, and just practice based on that. So once you read
So
the
would you
notes,
recommend, for example, then
yeah,
let's say I enter a game,
yeah,
and then as I enter the game, I'm going to tell myself this game I'm going to focus on who has the most active angle,
that's not
for
good.
example.
Not good enough. Who is the most active based on what? Again, it includes multiple variable. Your goal here is
Yeah.
to vague, and something that is something what I talked about in consistency class. If you remember, if you have two vague goals, kind of general goals, then you might fall into the trap of just overwhelming yourself, and you will. There's big tendency that most likely will autopilot again.
So then would you prefer, so you actually like to have a question that is very detailed?
Yes, yes. Your goal should be really simple. So once you was reading the notes, so see, can you see that this is a problem with what you did? Yeah, on the left side. Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I'm just kind of struggling with,
Mhm.
or struggling like intuitively, I want to kind of keep my question vague so that I start using my gut feeling more than I use my rational
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah. But this is exactly what you described in there. This will influence your autopilot. You will most likely to autopilot if you're telling yourself you get a position better, or you're telling yourself, for example, you gotta choose the better target. You will autopilot. This is the
Mm-hmm.
tendency with your mind. Again, if your working memory is overwhelmed, you're gonna struggle. Yeah, does it make sense?
Yes, except that I would almost think, but I could very well be wrong in how I view myself.
Hmm.
But I would say that if I try and keep things vague, I'm going to go more on by gut feeling, and that might actually improve my decision making rather than trying to micromanage it. Unless the question is, which like you all seem to be suggesting, very, very simple, but also clear at the same time.
Yeah, but the thing is, your decision making, do you actually, if you think about the top 100 players, do they
Mhm.
actually think about all of these variables? What we're talking
No,
about?
not consciously. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure by that point they're doing it
yeah,
automatically.
exactly. So to reach that level, to reach just this good decision making, you need to form habit. To form a habit, you need to simplify it and just make sure you practice one simple variable until it comes automatic. And later, we can try to practice something else and then something else. So see, if
Hmm.
I'm identifying the target priority, who is the big problem? It can be based on XYZ. Yeah, if we're talking about target priority, for example, it can be based on position, cooldowns, damage. Okay, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to exactly identify all of that at once. So what you can do instead, you can break it down and focus on who has the best position. Okay, I go after them. Go after them. You can ignore the other stuff. You don't need it because your working
Hmm.
memory. This is what I want you to recognize. If you're trying to focus on multiple variables, then you will autopilot, and this is what happens with any other players. Well, there's big one of the biggest variables. If you have too many goals in mind and those are too vague, you're most likely to autopilot. That's what's
Yeah,
gonna happen. Okay, so
because the brain's like, this is too much for me to handle. I'm just going to do
yes,
something random
yes,
or
yes.
what feels comfortable.
So you can have multiple goals for your game session, but you cannot practice multiple goals right in time, right when you do stuff. And I can tell it from player's perspective or even just from coach perspective, it's not gonna work. Well, it can work maybe, but it's gonna take you more time, and like I mentioned, you might autopilot too.
Yeah,
So
so you then would recommend that whether it's per session or per game, focus on a very concrete problem. So in this case, let's say like X is the strongest positioning, and then
yeah,
so the
good
concrete
enough.
question might exactly okay.
Yeah, good enough. Yeah, start with that. So your thought process can be, once you read the notes, and you're not just gonna tell yourself, okay, X, Y, Z idea to practice, but maybe you can, for example, you can write down maybe X, Y, Z to practice. And it's just for the game session. For the game session, I think. Why not? But later, you can start just narrowing down for yourself. You can, for example, pick one goal and just practice X. Yeah, let's like try to practice X or Y or Z, depending on situation. But you gotta pick. Yeah, let's say you need to pick. You need to pick something to practice, and then later it's gonna be more automatic for you. You just need
Okay,
to do it
cool.
multiple
Yeah, so
times.
just narrow it down and do it for a while until it feels
Yeah,
instinctual.
yeah, exactly. And there's a model you can use as well. What I usually recommend. And by the way, how your model looked so far is this. If I just show you, imagine this, each box here, it represents your one game, or maybe, just say it's one game. This is one game. This is one game. A lot of times you do this. You kind of X, Y, Z, or maybe you also put something else, and then there's something else. There's a big tendency that you will autopilot most likely. Okay, so XYZ kind of in one box, just in one game. It's gonna be really overwhelming. Your long-term memory is gonna struggle. Your working memory always benefit out of those simple tasks a little bit more. Some people, they also struggle with is just, let's say this, okay, just attention wise, yeah, because your attention drops. Why you tend to autopilot? Because our attention drops. Your attention
Mm-hmm.
drops in this case because there are too many variables, but there also might be cases when your attention can drop because you repeat the same tasks way too long. So see, X. Imagine you sit on a really long lecture, your attention also might drop, actually. So yeah, so your
Yeah,
attention,
you get bored.
yeah, exactly. You might get bored of the stuff you're doing, and that's why it's important to make sure there's balance. Yeah, there are not too many things at once, and you're also not practicing for something for really long period of time. So what you can do is try to follow this model. It's really simple, but it can also be advanced later for you. Start with one problem, and then move to another, and then move to another, and you just do it, practice each problem for one game, I think. So you move from one concept, and then there's another, and then you repeat the cycle. What it does is it keeps your attention pretty high, so you swap between the concepts,
The game
and
stays new, and so the experience stays fresh and exciting.
yes, exactly. The concepts are for you are renewing, and you're also not practicing like that first problem you have here. You're not practicing too many things in one game. This is what you maybe can read about that, or maybe you already know something what it's called interleaved practice. You can
Mm-hmm.
implement it in your games. Your attention is really high, well, there's a chance your attention will be high because of it. Yeah, most definitely. And your long-term memory also gonna benefit out of this more because if we have a repetition, we're constantly going back and revisiting the same idea over and over and over again. So instead of you having to focus on one concept, maybe randomly sometimes you kind of work on XXX and then you forget. Yeah, it's just instead of having to focus on one problem for limited period of time, you can constantly, for example, in this case, your focus on X problem is for 9 games. You're kind of just constantly going back towards that problem and checking. Oh, okay, how is the X? Just how this problem am I actually getting it? And eventually, once it starts once you start doing something more automatically, you can swap. You can swap the concept with something else. Yeah, we got some other stuff to work on too, like fighting kill zone or maybe just fight isolated people. Yeah, that's how you
Yeah,
solve
yeah.
that. Yeah, so this way you can simplify. I think this way it's gonna be much easier.
It sounds good. It's very structured and easy to follow. So I think this is really going to be helpful.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just kind of one a big fix, well, just right away, but maybe you still gonna have the problems without a pilot. We can dive in deeper into that. That's what I usually recommend. Simple goals. So yeah, again, we're just gonna narrow it down. Let's say you can write down. So all of this is practice X. It's just simple goals is the most important, and this interleave practice can also help you out. I think just this model here, right there.
Yeah,
Does it make
yeah, yeah,
sense?
yeah. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it already. I'm just getting excited by applying this idea because I can already sense it's going to be,
Yeah.
it is superior to what I was doing.
Yeah, perfect. I'm just gonna screenshot this. You're gonna have this in the doc, and you can revisit these notes. And just in case you're gonna have any questions later, let me know. But yeah, for now, we're just gonna call it your effective model of practice, so you will not fall into autopilot at the moment. Should be good.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions about all of that so far? Or...
All clear.
all clear. Yeah. Any other problems you've been having so far?
Not in particular. I mean, maybe some really small details here and there, like character interactions, maybe. But I think it might be smarter to focus on more like basic fundamentals and decision making rather than figuring out how to deal with dive characters if my team has no aim, for example.
Well, this one is kind of interesting too. They're pretty fundamental, I think, in a lot of cases. If you struggle, so you think you struggle versus dive characters, or
Not so much me personally. I feel like I would do quite okay against them, but I have noticed that, like one of my games last weekend, I think yesterday even, we were playing against I think a Spider-Man, a Black Panther, and something else that I can't really quite put my finger on. Anyway, the point was they were like constantly just being in our backline, and I was playing tank, and I wasn't really sure how to help my team out because my team was struggling.
hmm, makes sense. Makes sense. Well, a lot of times the answer is if you, especially if you play the dive character, then probably just need to fight their backline more, just harder. But
Yeah,
yeah, there are situations where they get a peel. So well, really depends. Well. Yeah, we could go with that too. I'm thinking, well, let's just see how the progress is, first of all, and
yep.
we can add something else to focus on today. I know we spent some time going over the model as well, but yeah, I think this is good. Okay, let's just watch a replay. And I think maybe hopefully the next time we also get some time where you can try to play and apply some of the stuff as well. I think today we can again focus more on what review, but it all depends on just yeah your what you struggle with and such.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
fine to me.
so far we outbound is something you've been working on, sure, well, struggling with, but just game wise, besides dealing with dive characters, what do you think? Is there's anything else when you've been applying the ideas? Just what we've been talking about with you so far?
I have really struggled with applying what you've been asking me to. I mean, it all seems to make perfect sense and it's helping my decision making. I just need to do more of it.
Just need to do more with it. Let's watch. Okay, so we starting on it's a really interesting angle to start on as well. Yeah, kind of more flankish one feels. Yeah, sitting on top there. Sure. Just kind of start on that side and here. The enemy starts walking and we're starting the pressure. Yeah, go for the Loki. Actually did for South Shift, use your bubble and disengage.
Yeah, because of the lamp, I didn't want to stay.
So this is what you're talking about. Yeah, this guy's diving. Yeah, what do I do? Interesting. So what do you think? Should you go after them or should you just keep the pressure on those guys over here?
I think from a theoretical standpoint, diving or continuing to just harass their backline would be better. I just
Yeah.
don't really trust my team to do well against the Iron Fist.
Yeah, but well, you don't trust them, but at the same time, think about it this way. Yeah, we don't trust them. You don't trust them in a way that he might kill your backline, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. And now, if this is something kills the backline, this might be possible. What do you think about this? This frontline pressure as well. Can it do something meaningful as well to your team?
Well, I could harass their backline at the same time.
Yeah, well,
That's,
exactly. Well, sure, but those guys, right? So in
yeah,
this,
I don't like the Bucky. The Bucky's scary.
yeah, the back you might be scared. They're also just more people, generally speaking. They're
Yeah.
just more
Yeah.
people for you to keep an eye on. So that is something I think you need to keep in mind as a tank. You always want to put your attention in the places where you can absorb that active pressure. Well, of course, we talked about those active angles, yeah, position, cooldowns, damage. But if you ever just struggle on identifying, should I just punish that isolated guy, or should I just try to go after multiple people? You can just simply watch the numbers on the angles. If there are more people here, usually for you, it's better to go after multiple. Yeah, just go after multiple people compared to going on isolated. Isolated is typically, there's always should be a good reason for you why you actually trying to tank this. Of course, you're trying to pressure them out, but ultimately we're tanking, yeah? So we're trying to just absorb the pressure somehow. Maybe directly absorb what's shooting you. Maybe this Iron Fist is gonna focus you, well, fine. Or maybe you're just pushing them away so they don't focus your team. It's kind of indirect influencing them not, I guess, not going on your backline tanking. But is it gonna do more? Yeah. And of course, they might kill the backline too. I just want you to understand, be comfortable with they kill the backline, but it can also do the same towards their backline as well.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of tanking is when you go after those active angles. Okay, so just look at the numbers a little bit more, and isolator is pretty much if something is killable. And see, Iron Fist, can we realistically kill him now? If he does this, what do you think?
I wouldn't say so. I don't think Hulk is a really good character to catch an Iron Fist.
Yeah, it might be difficult. It can be if they're lone cooldowns, I think, because they're quite quick and just going after somebody who's isolated, you have a lot of mobility, but you need to also identify. I don't see the killable. You ever talked about that exception rule? Remember? Okay, I can dive in.
Yeah.
This is the timing. Yeah, this is the timing when I can go and dive in. But yeah, I think you gotta
So,
be careful.
just so I understand, so just now you explained really two concepts that are always kind of fighting for your attention. It's absorbing pressure in the front line, or kind of going away from the front line and picking off an isolated hero.
Yeah.
That's kind of okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. So just keep that in mind. So it just really connects to as well this target priority wise. Yeah, what do I actually shoot? What do I actually go for? And just at all times identifying the most dangerous rusher at the same time what's killable to you. So now this, okay, so this seems like reasonable position. See, you going after this Moon Knight there, and this is front line. There's Groot, there's Bucky as well. But who does more right now? The Moon Knight or those guys in the front line currently?
I would say the Groot combined with the Bucky are going to do more, especially with the.
Well, but think about it this way.
I can't stop them as easily, so this is why I went for the Moon Knight.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure this, because this sometimes it might be confusing with just what you gotta go for. I'm thinking, I just gotta specify. You just need to exactly think about the angles, just the exact location, the area, maybe even the lane where the people are moving. So usually you can try to differentiate the map on 3 lanes. And there might be left lane over here, there's a middle one, there's the right side. So actually those guys are not taking similar angles. So this is the main lane, this is one angle, there's another angle to the right, and there's another angle to the left. Okay? So what do you think?
Well,
what angle is more dangerous right now?
Yeah, exactly. If I explain in terms of lanes, in terms of what my team is currently, so there's 3 lanes, a left and a middle and a right. My team is kind of covering the middle lane. The right lane is open, but the enemy team is not using the right lane, so it doesn't really matter. But they are using the left lane to attack my team, and so I'm the best suited for covering that side.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's good to attack. It's good to attack. This is something who does a lot as well with their position too, and can pretty much also say that those are killable. I think a lot of times. So you kind of can just try to go after what's more killable as well at any point of time. I'm gonna see later. So you.
I dropped down. And then I got pushed out of my jump. It was a bad play.
What do you think you should have done there? So you push this Moon Knight out. You got him. So what do you think is the play from there, from here?
I should have just stayed on the high ground, take a gander of what's going on, and then make my next move. Rather, just now I just dropped down thinking I got a pick. We actually have 2 picks now, and I was like, I'm good. I can just push in.
What do you get a push from here? What you should be pushing from here?
I just went for the back line. So I just went for the support. But if I did choose the drop down,
Mhm.
and I would try to make the right move, it would be helping, probably going on the Bucky, just because it's in range of my team.
Yeah. I think it's either Baki or you see this angle on the left as well. I think
The Loki,
this Loki, that is something you can go for too. So
just so I understand, would you then, so if I would go after the Bucky, that would be kind of like the middle lane if I use the previous kind of concept, and it's inside of my team, so that's kind of useful. But then I could also go on the Loki because he's on the other lane that's not being covered, and it would be smart to get him out of that lane.
You go after Loki because of, well, it's not exactly about the cover. Okay, let's think about it this way. So just the difference between peeling for Iron Fist and going after Loki. Yeah, because when Iron Fist been on your backline, right, they kind of created a threat and such, and the thing is, it's really hard to catch them. Just the kit, and I'm thinking, just within your range, there's been something else what it could be doing. Even though there's a choke, that is still important to contest. I'm thinking now, what I'm gonna find is, because this log, they also have the angle on this over here, but they're also isolated. I think they can be fun target to fight, but this also can be alright. I think it just depends on what kind of abilities they use as well. If you track this, okay, so for example they here, if they don't have their maybe shift, or maybe they don't have something else, this becomes more killable. Usually with those isolated targets. Okay, how do we identify if those are killable is one? Again, maybe they use something. Okay, they're usually more stationary. Remember, maybe if you got no mobility, if Iron Fist uses dash and such, maybe they use all their defensive. Yeah, this can be something you can.
So basically, if they're committed to a position that's far away.
Yeah, in the just down the cooldowns. I think if this is something you can fight, and another thing I'm thinking about just. Yeah, because these stationary cooldowns. Yeah, so it's just pretty much, I think 2 is good enough. Yeah, it's just their position, because they're isolated and because they use something. They have no mobility. That is something we can go for more. And this guy, ultimately, that is something what will be more preferable too. I think whenever there is a pressure on what your team is doing, the pressure is in the kill zone. I think this might be something we can go for. Definitely not the backline. It's just to simplify, like those guys are not as important to you right now because the team is not able to even contribute
to follow up. Yeah.
So it's
I
either
totally agree.
Baki or this over here. The just on the left would be alright. Let me think what kind of layer we can add as well. So we got, and so this is just slide. Okay, let's keep watching. This is just slide more discussion on the target priority and using grenade farming. Just need to farm your form again.
Yeah,
there's not much else we can do. I think you can boop yourself on top of the high ground potentially.
Oh yeah, that was actually not bad. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, if you want a better angle, then yeah, but it's fine to kind of just pressure down main. Pressure down main the choke, okay? So this is fine. And then you go out. And then you push this. Okay. And go after Iron Fist. What do you think about going after him here? Might work actually. It's just, yeah. What's your thoughts?
I think it's okay. Not necessarily if it's the right play or the best play, but I don't think it's a bad one. I just don't really know what other options are there because I didn't even check. So that's what I disagree with in terms of my play.
Yeah. So it's just kind of can scout a little bit more. Yeah, can scout a
Yeah.
little bit more and then decide what you gotta do. So I would add just something next. So when you do all of this stuff, I think it's fine if you focus on the target priority a little bit more and you narrow it down. I think you're doing already pretty good. It's just identifying what to go for. Of course, sometimes maybe it just does not make sense to exactly peel really hard your backline if this guy is, it's not as dangerous. Kind of maybe they just gonna waste a lot of time when chasing people as
Yeah.
well. But I also think you can add this idea of when you try to punish the angle. So see, I think, for example, here, you try to go after Iron Fist. Well, he's scary. Sure, okay, let's punish that. Yeah, let's quickly punish that and try to kill them. There's nobody else. Maybe Moon Knight as well. Maybe Moon Knight on the left side could be as well. But see, after you've done it, you just go back in the front line and you sort of trying to catch them. Yeah, maybe you're trying to think, well, they're low and I can just kill them, but it's always has to be decision. You see, it's always has to be decision if they're really low and it's easy to catch. I think a lot of times it's not gonna be as easy because of they got their cooldowns and they gonna get healed up most likely. So what I want you to do instead is once you clear the angle, try to make sure you have less linear options. So it's kind of instead of jumping in the front line, let me just call it those non-linear engagements. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually,
Got it.
yeah.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah. Usually after we clear the angle, let me just try to instead go after something else. So see, for example, something like this over here on the left side, or I can try to also search for other targets just in case. I can search and go from angle to angle. I'm not jumping from front to back here, and this way you can control the space better. I think slightly better. Unless there's
100%.
unless there's an exception. So I'll just keep it simple, yeah, because we talked about this setup before. Yeah, so it's just do non-linear stuff as much as possible because this controls the map, okay? But if not, if you're not setting up and then fighting, not setting up and fighting with those good targets, then you can go after what's killable. Yeah, and this has been more those isolated targets. Yeah, if they're stationary, we're talking about they use the cooldowns. Okay, they use mobility. I'm just writing down so we can use this later as well. I think this is gonna be good enough. What do you think? It's just this flow of the fight. Yeah,
Exactly. I really like this because it's like a micro decision and it's one that I will be making a lot. So if I scare
Yeah.
someone off or get a pick, rather than going linear again, it'd be like find an angle and then kind of set up. I think you call it set up phase and just go from there.
Yeah. I think this sounds really good, and you can also see just right at the start of all those engagements. Okay, we can make the same decision. Let's just go over again. So if I'm over here, I'm setting up. Okay, now I'm fighting with their angle. Something what's scary. Okay, so at this point of time, there's nobody taking enemy angle, so you kind of go in their backline, sure. Yeah, so you mentioned, yeah, fighting scary. It's based on all those variables, but here, yeah, just fighting the backline. And now, you can search for another angle later to be able to go for. So see,
yeah,
and
I go back kind of linear, like middle road, so to speak, and I should have maybe gone to the other balcony or just get another angle.
Exactly. Yeah, and just send it just fine. Yeah, this is what you need to do. I think go towards.
This is something
the right.
that's going to be mega helpful.
Yeah, just go towards the right, and from here, you're asking yourself, Alright. Well, I'm fighting scary angle. I'm trying to find who I gotta go for. This Iron Fist is in my back, but doesn't seem too killable. Of course, we're gonna talk about, I think, just talking the abilities, all of that. It's really helpful. But this guy, is just because he got the dash and healing, it's not the best target for you to go after for sure. So I could be choosing when you setting up to try to go, still keep going on their backline of here. They're more scary to you right now, even though nobody's taking angles right now. Everybody's just down the choke, but it's gonna be more important.
Yeah, that's low levels
think.
for you, bro.
Yeah. Maybe you usually expect people trying to spread out a little bit more, go to the right side and such. But yeah. Okay.
A bit high level, but diamond still not happening really too much.
Yeah, well, even at the highest level, to be honest, a lot of people, they still, I don't know, they just stuck down main too much. Of course,
They still do that?
yeah, but the game is new. That's why it's just so good to learn those ideas, because those are really important, those kind of games. You see your disengagement as well. Instead of doing this, just go on the platform again. When you just jump back. You could
wasting time.
Yeah, your uptime is constantly higher this way. You went after this guy, okay, sure, I done this, because this sort of maybe seems like killable, and then after that, choose another angle, yes, go here, and then you can start doing stuff. I think it's alright. Your team's dying, so you can maybe try to get a kill, try to reset at this point. Yeah. There's not much you can do, I think. You can just try to... Yeah, you could just try to stall, and that's it. It's fine. You can die later. I actually made it. Wait, you made it back? Oh, the portal.
No, yeah, the portal.
Portal. Okay. That's alright. Contesting the objective. Sure. Okay. Now it's the time again. So we finding what's scary. Okay, this guy... kind of active. The only question is, how could I set up slightly better as well?
The reason why I'm not thinking about setup is because my HP is so low. Like, the only reason I have 300 is because I got a med kit. And I'm just waiting for my
Yeah, waiting for your supports. Yeah. I think it might be... Then don't wait over here, then probably just walk towards your spawn a little bit more, or just... Yeah, I don't think it's too good to just wait for the healing over here, because you might get spammed, but yeah.
I do get spammed. I die.
Yeah, that's what I see. You just... There's a lot of random damage, and there's big... Yeah, there's big opportunity to just receive a lot of pressure. That's alright. Okay. Alright, jump back in on the fight. Okay. This is also the top of the linear stuff, too. I'm talking about you fighting the scary angle. Yeah. So you fighting this angle, how you would approach it. Well, this... Your Cloak and Dagger, they're actually using the ultimate, but they're just not sure if your decision is... Do you hear that, or...?
Yeah, she already did it.
Okay, if you do, then it's fine. If you do, then it's fine, actually, because the ultimate, you can...
That's why I decided to do it. I still don't think it's the ideal play, but that's why I went in.
Yeah, it's... think about it this way. Your ultimates... Whenever you use something, a lot of times you can ignore the setup, because ultimate matters more compared to the position, typically. So it's one of those ideas where, well, it's... might be actually be fine fighting ultimate, but yeah, ideally you would have the setup and ultimate together, but ultimate matters more. So if you choose between the position and the ultimate, sure, but then you get a commit, and there's no point of jumping back.
Yeah, the reason I jump out is because they use their ultimate as well.
Yeah, but see, like, disengagement is linear now. Yeah, where you gotta go for, where you should be right now.
Yeah, I should have either gone kind of on the high ground to the left, just above us, or I could have maybe gone into the little room med kit and be just at least at that angle.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's just, I think you can even literally from here, you don't like saying an ultimate. You can even punish this guy if he's up there. He's isolated. Sure, let me try to just search for killable targets. But before that, yeah, I think it's just really disengagement. Okay. That's what a lot of people do currently. They just go back too much, and then you give up a lot of
This is
space.
pure autopilot this time. This is really
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
just
see,
no brain.
and you're already over here. You could be, you could be,
Just go right back.
you could be, yeah, you could be here just right at the start. And you also have your ultimates, so you can think about the ways to force out the attention on yourself and just be pressured, use the ultimate after if somebody
Yeah.
commits.
Yeah. Just me being a numpty.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't want to waste ultimate. I thought it was dumb.
That's alright. That's alright. That's alright. Yeah, let's watch the next. And so it's just kind of early poke. Yes. This guy got hooked. Sure, not much you can do. Hmm.
I mean, there's a high ground behind me, but I don't think it really helps because there's no cover.
You can try. It's just once you, yeah, you get grabbed there, but well, I mean, Groot ultimate, yeah, gets a seed there. Yeah, gotta disengage. Even from here, choose just to go on the platform if possible, and then it would be like more zigzags. So see, this is like a line. You would try to create more disengagements of to the left, to the right, zigzag disengagements at all times.
I'll write that down.
Yeah, yeah, this
That's
what
a good
it
one.
means. Yeah. So, just jumping from front to back. Because you could be healed and stay on the platform, and have a better sight line on the rest of these guys.
Yeah.
You also could set up on the wall if you like. See, now again, you go do this. Well, sure, maybe try to punish them, but just so you also give up some space. You can do this stuff. Yeah, you can maybe sit on the right side or sit on the left side and then try to go. So it's left and right over going from front to back. It feels. Yeah, if the intention is, see this, if you can hit the platform right there, I think it's also really nice. You go from one angle to another. Again. A little bit forced, it feels. You just kind of go in and you don't. I think you don't have to. If you're yeah, if you're Cloak and Dagger using ult, then sure. Yeah, I think you use your first. I think you can just set up first for this. Maybe go from here, even though it's frontline. Go to here. So let's go to the side. Yeah, and then later you do stuff. So see, again, it's linear. Just jump on the line.
Yeah, I remember feeling the need to do something because I felt like we were pushed so far, and I was like, I need to create space. And that's totally the wrong thinking.
Yeah,
but it was just in my brain. I felt that compulsion to do something.
It's good to create space. Just do it with a higher quality. I think it's fine to push.
Yeah.
Just don't jump in a line right in them, but rather jump here and then go in later. Start shooting. Start punching people. You know. And from there, you can use your ultimate later, because those guys will be forced to look at you. Well, you big tanks, so you will start using your ultimate. It also feels like kind of jump in, use your ultimate right away. You could allow your HP to drop a little bit more as well once you're here. Just punch. They go after you, try to surround, use your ultimate. Imagine your team, how much follow-up you would get as well. And force these guys to in unfavorable spots because of this less linear kind of stuff. Yeah. It's kind of how do you go from front to back as well. It's sometimes uncomfortable. By the way, you also boop people pretty far. It was the punches. Yeah. So you see,
it's very much like Winston.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to tell you. You doing this? Remember Winston Overwatch? If you do this, go from literally jump from my team, jump to here, and then juggle towards this spawn. It's not good, right? What I can do, why I don't juggle them, why I don't just push them towards my team instead.
Yeah.
And just
that's actually a good one. I never really had that conscious thought, at least with Hulk, to juggle into my enemy team. So I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, but this is what allows you to do it, because you just go from doing those non-linear engagements. You go from one angle to another. Okay? And from there, you can try to just push the enemy away. You can also get a kill. I think it's fine, but usually it's really like your second life and push the enemy in unfavorable space. This is where they feel safe. Push them in better space, somewhere towards your team.
So this is just like classic autopilot. And I know I'm autopiloting, but
That's alright. That's
I
right.
didn't have a good alternative.
Yeah.
Even though there was one, I just couldn't think
Yeah.
of one.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. Is he the way you disengage as well? Where should he be right now?
When I disengaged, I could just go right to the balcony. Once I heard the
Yeah.
Moon Knight, I just pop up the balcony.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, go here.
I'm right beside it, yeah.
Uptime. Yeah, uptime. This guy's ulting, fine. I'm not giving up all that space to literally come back later, do the same move. I'm already here, and I'm gonna try to punch people later. Punch, 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 punch. And there's guys pushing active angles you choose. Maybe, okay, let's go out after Iron Fist, sure. Or maybe there's gonna be somebody on the balcony, you try to deal with them. Yeah, most likely somebody will try to take the angle, so you can even be up on the wall, but... Yeah. Again, ultimates, they allow you to ignore the positioning. They allow you to ignore the positioning of... Just ignore the setup. Sometimes you can kind of cheat, go in, but... Of course, prioritize doing the setup too. You see, even with this, I would just slide to go... Why not to go slightly to the right side instead of towards my team? Why not to literally... I go here. Or stay here. Your team is pushing, stay right there, and you engage with your Star-Lord right now. And push this guy. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe just, if you see somebody's low over here, then sure, you can go after them. Yeah, really clear pattern, it seems, but I think it helps.
Yeah. It's lovely to have your feedback, really. I'd only go in here because I saw the Invisible Girl ultimate.
Yeah.
And then it was already ended before I got there.
Yeah. It's alright. And it just kind of feels a little bit chaotic at this point. Well, this guy is really overcommitted. This is the time, yeah. This is the time to decide, okay, he's really killable. Sure, I can try to go after them. Yeah.
It's probably the one time my linear engagement was good.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just those exceptions. You can go after those active angles a little bit more. Okay, let's keep watching. Now the platform is good, I think. The platform is really nice. Also, I definitely don't want to get poked there, though. You're trying to choose to... I assume you're trying to just set up on another angle here. That's what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Right? When you up on the wall, can you charge a jump while falling down? When you up on this wall, can you charge a jump?
Yeah, I can charge on the wall.
Yeah, so might consider doing that as well.
Yeah, being more hidden, that's a good point.
Yeah, so you can just drop and just go in right away, I think. So you're not gonna get poked. That is something you're gonna talk about as well a lot, but yeah, I would definitely start with rotations. Okay. I'm thinking, do you have any questions? Maybe anything specific? I know this is a long game. Maybe anything you want to just cover a little bit more?
I had nothing specific about this game, honestly. I just wanted you... I knew there was plenty of stuff that I was doing incorrectly, like autopilot. And I thought it was good to just hear your feedback because you always have a way of explaining things that make sense to me.
Yeah.
But nothing specific. So we can just continue as we're doing. If you're kind of bored with this, it's fine. We can go to the attack.
Yeah. Well, we could just get us maybe a couple examples, and then I would summarize. To be honest, just see what we got. Make sure that all the notes make sense. The flow, what we can try to implement later.
Yeah, I didn't even know the map. I was like, can I go to the right there?
Searching the way to go, yeah. That's possible. It's possible to use the right side here, yeah. It's good. Can control the high ground first from here. So again, what is our flow, yeah? What it looks like? Let's maybe we kind of summarize while watching this. What do you think? So what have we been talking about so far?
A big one was, well, there were a few, like, I guess, like, do I absorb pressure in the front or do I go from isolated hero? Typically, you try and absorb pressure in the front somehow or deny pressure in the front.
Let's just say before. So before that. So you're talking about target priority, what I'm engaging on, yeah?
Yes.
But just before that, what do we gotta do with our angles as well?
Okay, first up, I would say set up.
Yeah.
So get an angle.
Yeah.
And then from there, scout a target.
Yeah. Sounds good. Okay.
And let's say I go in on a target. Suppose it was a decent choice. Let's say I get a pick or not. Then I don't just want to go retreat linearly. What I
Mhm.
typically do, I want to try and go from to another angle right away if possible.
Yeah. So it's gonna be this. I'm gonna call it do zigzag, kinda. This zigzag stuff, this zigzag setup instead of going in a line. Yeah, it's just I'm not jumping from front to back or yeah, it's just not going from my team towards theirs or other way around from their team towards my team right away. It's always zigzag left to right. Yeah, left to right. I go left,
Don't be
right.
a predictable noob.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so this is good. Okay, and with the target priority, then, okay, we gotta choose to go. You can, I think, we still can use this previous principle on what I talked about. It's just kind of a little bit more about the isolated versus going after, what's in the front line. I think you can keep the same principle pretty much around the active angles. Yeah, obviously break it down like we mentioned. Yeah, let's try to push those active angles based on something. Yeah, let's try to
Yeah,
push them. Okay, but just add this extra idea. I don't think it's gonna cause you too much trouble. But yeah, from what you're describing as well, if you're ever facing this dive members on my team, sometimes it might be not good decision to push them. Yeah. So you just need to recognize when it's a good decision. So what is that
yeah.
exception? Yeah, from the rule. Yeah. What was that about for us?
If they're an easy target. So
Yeah.
basically, if it's an easy kill, let's put it that way.
Yeah. Easy kill and based on what?
Kind of depends on the hero, but typically it'll have to do with positioning. So how far away are they from their team? Can they receive support? And number two would be cooldowns. Like what are they used? Can they still get away from you or no?
Yeah, I like this. Yeah, I like this flow so far. Yeah. So it's just stationary cooldowns. Yeah, if they're stationary, they use cooldowns. That's good. And just isolated is another factor. But typically, yeah, if all of this is there, they don't have any mobility, they pretty low as well. Then I think it's a good decision to go. If not, then consider doing something else. That's why I was mentioning there've been times when it was fine to go after Iron Fist. I think they use some mobility. They just been really frontlining, and there's maybe no better target to go for, then sure, you can try to go after them. Yeah, but there was one clear example when Iron Fist in the backline, but the rest of these guys are pushing. I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's like chasing Tracer on Winston and Overwatch as well.
That's
Yeah,
a great point.
yeah,
Yeah, when you put it like that, it feels even more terrible.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. You just, yeah, I think it's good to make those analogies too. Yeah,
Yeah, because that makes more sense to me because I played it for so long in the
yeah,
past. So
exactly. Okay, angle looked good, and this is isolated. Yeah, sure, easy kill because they're pretty low.
yeah,
That's fine. Realize they're low. All of them are low. Fine. You just finish them. Okay, set up. Fight for the next. Here. And stay up on the wall. I'm definitely gonna use the walls more. It just feels. It's kind of. I think it's really brief fix, but if you're setting up, just stay on the wall if possible too.
mm,
Yeah, like what you did there. Of course, you're trying to go for another angle, but. Yeah, I like it. The setup. Okay, we've done our homework here with setup. Now fighting. The rest feels like kind of forced either, but yeah, you can try to shoot the backline. What do you think, by the way?
I think it's silly because
Yeah.
this is like the same thing I did in the first coaching session. I'm just diving the back
Yeah.
line without really thinking, can my team support them and how much cover do I have and so on. So like my team can't see them. If that team turns around, I'm just by myself, and so it's not going to really lead to much.
Yeah. Exactly. So what you should do right here?
Um, I would have stayed on the top, and I would have preferred to have dropped down maybe on the, maybe even Scarlet. That would have led potentially to more, and I would have also received heals. Yeah, so once
Yeah.
I kind of
So
spit at
once.
them,
Yeah. Hmm.
I think it would have been better to just drop down and smack the Loki
What do you
because
think
he's right
about
there.
this? What do you think about this? This guy is taking angle over here. What do you go after that?
Yes. See, so I'm not autopiloting myself. So I wasn't even considering active angle.
Yeah.
And you're entirely right. Yes, that would take
Yeah,
priority.
exactly. Like this is something, because this is main, yeah. But again, you can always differentiate. It's not that people on main, they all, because there are more people, you instantly shoot them. Yeah, you also see kind of differentiate them up on multiple lanes. It helps. Even this, you can differentiate on 3 angles. There's one angle here, there's another angle here, and there's another angle there. So you just push the most active angle, and yeah, it's based on this multiple things you mentioned. This guy's pretty killable too with this stuff they're doing.
If he's pushing that far forward, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So something to keep an eye on. Okay, well, we've mentioned quite a lot. Yeah, I think it's a good time if we just see if there's any final questions. Yeah, maybe anything you want to have a clarification on and such. But yeah.
I'm just trying to make sense of it all right now for a sec. I mean, it was all pretty clear. I'm just trying to
Of
see
course.
if I have retained it. And I have made some notes.
Yeah,
and of course, I know you're also an avid note taker, so that's helpful.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this to you.
Okay, so maybe let's start with differentiating what we did the first coaching session and what we did now. I think the 1st session we largely spent, if I can kind of make it as broad as possible, I think we talked about target selection largely. And that target selection was largely based on who's the most active. And then this session, I think we focused more on taking more angles myself, and maybe even high concept than that is like trying to stay, try and have a high uptime.
Yeah, that's true. Mostly through your position.
Yeah, for positioning, exactly.
Yeah, mostly through that. Yeah, that's what I think is gonna be really helpful for now.
So first target selection, and this one was more like high uptime through positioning.
Yeah. You can call it rotations or something. Yeah, it's just better rotations always help you out. Non-linear on this character can be quite good. That's what I would do. Yeah, let's work on that. And for later, I think might be good to focus on more how to avoid poke and just general stuff like using cover. Maybe some other, just how to maintain angle longer. Anything else that's gonna come to mind? Other than that, we'll see. I think, yeah. Let's see the progress, but just will be good seem to add later as well. Once we just gonna go over those ideas so far. Let's see how that's gonna go.
Yeah, sounds good. And I made my alternative